Yo, what's up, YouTube? Alright, so making this video today because of what happened at work. Nothing bad. Don't get the idea that every job you go into is going to be a negative experience because then you carry a negative energy with you. If you carry a positive energy with you, people usually respond to that energy because, people want to work with people they enjoy working with. If you're like a pain in the ass all the time, negative, people aren't going to want to do shit with you. So anyway, today was my second day working on a boat and whatnot. I'm working on this 44 foot boat for foreign country or some shit. Um, and in the engine room and was in the tank room today. The tank room, oh my god, that is like the smallest space I have ever been in. Like, the space I'm sitting in is literally as wide as my shoulders, and I could like stretch one arm out this way, and then the wall was like right here. So my arms all stretched out on this side, but it's like close. And then I'm like screwing in valves and hose connections right here. Like I'm like screwing it in. It's so tiny. I got this. I don't even remember how big the wrench was. I had this wrench and I could only turn it like this much. Shit was crazy. Like, and mind you, I'm in an aluminum boat, so there's like no padding. So I'm sitting on this piece of styrofoam. It was fun though, because the dude I work with is like, he's the greatest trainer I think I could have for the situation I'm in. Starting only being a week and 2 days into a transition and starting a new job where everyone can clearly tell that I was identified female at birth. So, today a lot of work was prepping so that we could go into the tank room. We like cut out of the engine room early to prep for what we're going to be doing in the tank room because they threw some extra bodies in the engine room and it was just too small for there to be 5 people in there. So we were cutting a lot of hose, different size hoses and stuff, so that we could feed all this coolant and fuel and some of all the pretty much all the liquids that an engine needs so that it can run. We got to route it early because once we start putting stuff in the engine room, it's not going to be any space to run the cable. So we're doing stuff sequentially. So we're over at this table and my instructor Mike is cutting he's cutting the hose up at all these different lengths. Like one was like 188 inches, which is like, it's ridiculous. And I'm installing the end caps so that once we get it in there, we can hook it up. So this new dude shows up because, well, he's not new. He's old, but I haven't met him. And so I'm the only black person in the entire shop that I work in. There's another shop, and there might be black people there, but I have not seen him. So I'm in the shop. I'm obviously noticeable, because when there's a whole bunch of people of the same ethnicity, you might walk past and not really notice them. But when you're in a room full of white people and you're the only person of color there, people notice you right away. Not necessarily saying that's a bad thing, but I don't know. I guess it's good so that I can meet everybody and not like kind of get, you know, pushed to the side. So I'm standing there and the guy comes up and introduces himself. He's like, "Hi, you're new. My name is such and such." And I said, "Eli," and I shook his hand. Nice firm handshake and everything. And Mike was like, "Yeah, I'm just," he's like, "Yeah, I'm training her." And he's like, "I'm training Eli on, engine room and the tank room stuff." And the look on his face when he said her was kind of like, "Oh shit, I fucked up." Well, I saw it, but he didn't go into it right then. So the guy was like, "All right, it's nice to meet you, Eli, and look forward to working with you in the future on some of these boats." So the dude leaves, and then it's like I'm still putting the cable, well, the hoses connections on, going about my business, And Mike comes over. He's like, I'm really sorry about that. How do you want to be addressed? And I was like, well, you could use Eli. He's like, no, I mean, and I was like, pronouns? He's like, yes. What pronouns would you like me to use? And I said, I use male pronouns, so all male pronouns are okay. It's never going to be a problem. And he's like, I'm sorry. I don't have any problem with what you're doing. Some of my best friends are, other sexualities and different gender identities. He's like, it just slipped out. Sometimes it's hard when you're adjusting to what's going on. And I obviously look very female. They know. So I guess when the HR lady went and talked to my supervisor, he told the crew to, like, excuse me, not give me a hard time, not use female pronouns. So most of the people in the shop just call me Eli. And we don't really work right next to each other all the time. So it's not like I have a lot of communication with those people. They work in different parts of the boat and different parts of the shop. But me and Mike are like, we're side by side all day long. He's training me. So I talk to him the most out of anybody. And we talk about all kinds of shit. And after that, it was cool, like nothing even happened. He didn't ask me any personal questions. He didn't launch into any like personal stories, because sometimes people, when people slip up or whatever, which is understandable, I'm not expecting people to be perfect, but when people slip up and whatever, sometimes their kind of response is to validate how okay they are with the situation, which could just be saying, like, I'm totally accepting of the choices that you're making for your life, and I apologize. That's always enough for me. Like, I'm never going to say that's an unacceptable response or demand any more from them. But for whatever reason, people always want to tell you about a personal story with someone. His response was just like, I'm okay with it. I have friends that are living lifestyles different than mine, some similar to yours, and it's no big deal to me. And for the rest of the day, this was like early on in the day. So for the rest of the day, there were no more slip ups from Mike. No female pronouns. He knows my first name isn't Elisha. He knows it's Tremaine. We talked about it. When I first was getting introduced, that was the name. And when he asked me about Elisha, he's like, so is that a nickname? Or I was like, well, that's what I'm going to change my name to. Well, my middle name, but I didn't jump into all of that. So I was like, that's what I'm going to change my name to. So that's just what everyone calls me. And he was like, that's totally fine. Because when you work with people, you want to get to know them. And so Mike is just real cool. He treats me just like one of the guys. He never makes any jokes that would be female gendered, or jokes about male gendered jokes, kind of like making jabs at me for not having those experiences. We talk about all kind of shit, and it's really cool to have someone who's training you for 8 hours every day be able to be comfortable with what you're doing and be able to talk to you for 8 hours a day. I mean, I've told some people about how I'm transitioning in a text message. Like, I get a message like, hey, how are you doing? You ran across my mind. I just wanted to text you, see how you are. And I'm like, I'm good. Life is good. I'm making changes, making myself better. And they're like, changes like how? I'm not going to lie to people who used to be close to me. And I'm like, I'm transgender. I'm going to start a transition when I get out of the military. And not got any response back. Like, not at all. Just complete completely stopped texting me, you know? And and I've also had people that I told I was going to transition, and they're like, I don't believe in that. You should stay the way God made you. No matter how unhappy you are, you should just get in therapy and learn to accept yourself for the way you are. So I've had people giving me kind of like that whole negative response type of thing. And these are people who are supposed to be close to me. And then I meet somebody like Mike who doesn't know me for more than 5 minutes before he's treating me like we're old friends, laughing and joking, accepting my pronouns, accepting the lifestyle I'm choosing to make, which is, amazing to me. Just some people are just that way, and Mike is definitely one of those people, and he makes working this job so much easier. And you know, I just want people to know that if you go into a situation with a positive attitude, and I don't give a fuck how you feel about what I'm doing this for me. People usually accept that. People will usually just go with it. Don't always think the negative about the people that you're going to be working with. And sometimes you just have to be brave enough to not give a fuck what they say. Those people don't have no heaven or hell to put you in, and they're not going to affect your happiness, because happiness comes from within. When you're happy with yourself, it don't matter who's unhappy with what you're doing. So always, always, always remain positive. Don't let anything negative bring you down. When I had people turn their back on me, when I had people tell me that I was wrong for what I was doing, not accepting what I was doing, but telling me they love me, I didn't let any of that stop me. Yeah, it kind of hurt my heart a little bit, but it was one of those types of things where it was like, I don't care, because I'm going to still do me. I'm going to still be me. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to not transition so that I can keep people in my life. You know what I mean? Because those people don't want to be there for real. If you are willing to accept someone being fake, not being true to themselves, so that you can be comfortable with who they are, then you really don't give a fuck about that person. And those are the people that you should look out for, because there are so many people in this world that will accept you. I walked into a shop of guys who have known each other for years, in some cases, 6, 7 years. And they accepted me like I had been there since day one of the company. So you just have to continue to put that good, positive energy out in the world, and it will come back to you, because that's what I've been doing. I've been like, I don't want to be negative anymore. I'm not going to be negative to my friends. I'm not going to be negative to my family because of how unhappy I am with myself. Those are things that I can change one step at a time. I can change those things by getting into therapy, getting a letter, getting a prescription, getting surgery. I just have to wait for those steps to come along. And once I start climbing that staircase, you know what I mean? I'm moving on to another level. So I can't bring the negativity with me. And I just started putting that positive energy out to my family, that positive energy out to my friends. And you know what happened? I got blessed in return with the work environment that is totally accepting, totally accepting. And you will too if you put out that energy. If you let your light shine, people are going to hold their candle to your flame so they can get some of that glow in their life, because people recognize what is real. People recognize positive energy. They recognize good people. They want those type of people. So be that person before you transition and as you transition. And people will hold their candle up to your flame to get what you have, because they see how it glows in you. They see it in your eyes. They hear it in your voice, the way you walk, the way you present yourself, the way you do your work. They will see that, and you'll receive those blessings that you're giving out to the world just by being a good, positive you. Just by being a good, positive version of yourself, people will respond with that same love. No, these people at the shop don't love me like my family does, but they love me like real friends. I've only been working there for 2 days, and they always include me in conversations. We do little pranks on each other. It's like I've been working there for years. So don't always think the negative about people. If you put that positive out there, it's going to come back to you. Sometimes you might get negative at first or a little bit here, but don't worry. That's not the world pushing against you. That's the world showing you who isn't really there for you, so you can get them out of your life so much faster. So you can move on to the people who do care. I just want you guys to keep the faith in your transition that it will come. I want you guys to keep the positive energy up. And I want you guys to live for tomorrow. for next week, for next month, for next year, because it's going to be so different than it is right now. And I can tell you, just last month in November, I was like ready to end it all. I was ready to give up on everything. And here I am a month later living the best life ever. I've got support from my family, support from my girls, support from my friends, support at work, and life is great. So just hang in there because it's going to be great for you too. If you want to hit me up, you know what to do. It's in the description. I will always answer all the messages, even if you just want to say hi, even if you don't have any questions. We can just talk. I'm talking right now to a couple dudes that I've met through my YouTube videos. I send emails and ask, how's everything going? How are you feeling? One is on T, one's not on T yet. But we're putting together a plan together so that they can get on T soon. You know what I mean? You could be in your transition. If you just want to reach out, I will reach back. Well, now that I'm done on my soapbox over here, giving that whole big old speech, I didn't even plan that. It just happened, but I just had to share that with you guys so you have faith, so you'll see that good things do come. I gotta give a shout out to my sister Jocelyn. Let me wear this snapback. You know, she found out that my mom's hats was in the video, so I wanted to put hers in because she loves this joint. I want to give a shout out to my little sister Maya because she made some burritos tonight for dinner and they were so good. Maya's always feeding us, so I just want to give a shout out to her. And I want to give a shout out to everybody on T, everybody who will be on T soon, and everybody who has to wait. Because you deserve a shout out too, just because you live today. So, hit me up if you need me. Peace.